everyone, and thank you for patiently waiting. Welcome to our National Graduate Week. I'm your host, Josh from CareerMap TV, and today we're joined by Aldi. During this session, we'll learn what it's like to work at Aldi and get some great insights from current employees. There will be a Q&A segment at the end of the webinar, so feel free to leave any questions in the chat box, and we'll get back to them after the presentation. So without further ado, I'll now pass it over to the Aldi team to start their session. Off you go, guys.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that intro, Josh. And welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in today's webinar entitled Graduates of Today, Leaders of Tomorrow. Now, we've definitely got a jam-packed hour ahead of us, so let's make a start with some brief introductions. So my name's Jess, and with us today we've also got Liv and Afonso. So we're going to do some brief introductions to ourselves in a moment, but you will get to know a little bit more about us throughout the presentation today. So in terms of myself, I've been with Aldi since March of 2023, so just about 18 months, a little bit over now, and I've always worked on the area manager and placement recruitment team. So within that involves us recruiting for all of our graduate area managers, career changer area managers, and also all of our industrial placements as well. So we kind of manage the end-to-end recruitment process from screening, video interviews, group assessments, and everything in between. So an extremely busy role, and my colleague Liv also supports with that as well. So I'll hand over to her to introduce herself a little bit more.
Hi everyone, so I'm Olivia. I've been with Aldi since January 2023. So I work alongside Jess in the area manager and placement recruitment team. So I won't repeat what she's just said or go into too much detail about that, but yeah, just managing the end-to-end process for our area manager and placement recruitment. So I'll now pass over to Afonso.
Hi everyone, my name is Afonso. I'm currently an area manager in the Swindon region. I've been with the business since I was 17 years old. So that was in 2018. I started as a part-time store assistant, did that whilst completing my studies. I then actually did the retail management placement program as well. And then recently returned in July 23 as an area manager. So I've been through the process quite of the few things that we'll be talking about today. So hopefully I can share my insights and answer any questions you guys might have.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, everyone. So as I've just mentioned, the Aldi recruitment team manage the end-to-end process of every application that we receive for all of our graduate, career changer, area manager and placement roles across the UK. Now, the recruitment team are based within both the Aldi Head Office, which is sort of Midlands, and then our Bolton regional office, which is where myself and Liv are based. And here we focus on sort of all elements of the employee life cycle. So this covers attraction, recruitment, training, career progression, health and wellbeing for all of our 45,000 colleagues that we do have here at Aldi at the moment. Now, during the next hour, we really aim to provide you with a bit of an overview of Aldi, our graduate opportunities, and what really makes us an award-winning graduate employer. Now, we'll even give you some insider information, hopefully, some hints and tips on how to apply and what to expect during the recruitment process as well. And then finally, we will end our time together today with a Q&A session. So we do understand that there is a lot to consider when applying for your graduate role. Sorry, bit of a tongue twister. And some of you may not have been through a recruitment process like this before. So if this is your opportunity to ask any questions that you might want to ask myself or Afonso or Liv about their experiences so far, or anything about the recruitment process as well. So you can either drop your questions into the chat, or, we will open the floor at the end if you want to bob them in at the end when we do open up for the Q&A. So I will move on to the next slide. So first up, why join Team Aldi on our graduate programme? So I'm going to run through a couple of reasons now why Aldi means more. Aldi is one of Britain's fastest growing supermarkets with more than 1,000 stores currently in the UK and over 45,000 colleagues. Our supermarket believes in making every day amazing and delivering the best possible value for millions of families throughout the UK and through Ireland as well. At Aldi, we know our success has only been possible thanks to our amazing colleagues, which is why our staff benefits span across discounts on gym memberships, cinema tickets and holidays, as well as fantastic salaries, wellbeing perks and secondment opportunities as well, which are really exciting. Now, we understand that amazing absolutely doesn't happen overnight, which is why we are making those changes to be greener, fairer and healthier every day. So this is from sourcing sustainable produce, reducing our plastic and packaging waste, working with amazing charities such as our partnership with the Teenage Cancer Trust and also our partnership with Team GB and Paralympics GB really aim to ensure that we are constantly working to make those changes every single day. Now, our credentials absolutely do speak for themselves, and we are really proud to have been awarded the Employer of the Year at the Grocer Gold Awards for 2 years running in 2022 and also 2023. Placed in the Best 100 Student Employers for Rate My Placements Top 100 Awards, as well as being consistently placed in the Times Top 100 for Graduate Employer of Choice as well. So moving on to our next slide in terms of what it is that we're looking for within our graduate opportunity. So what do you need to have when applying for the Graduate Area Manager programme? You'll have or be working towards a 2-1 degree, and that is across any discipline that you may be studying. You'll also need to have 96 UCAS points or equivalent. So that could be 63 Scottish Highers as well if you have studied in Scotland. And this will be from your top 3 A-levels, Highers or international qualifications as well. Now, if there is anything in that you're unsure of in terms of qualifications, absolutely reach out to the recruitment team. I will be dropping our email address in later if you're unsure about your qualifications. You also need to hold a full UK driving licence, have the right to work in the UK, and also be ready to take on any challenge, as we are looking for individuals who use initiative and always strive for smarter and simpler ways of doing things. We are a cost-saving business and we're always looking to improve our efficiencies. So what does an average day look like for an area manager? Well, the simple answer to that, there isn't a typical day for an area manager, and I'm sure when we get round to Afonso's slide, he'll probably back that up as well. Your days and weeks will be varied, visiting stores, meeting with your store teams, reviewing KPIs and ensuring that your teams are fully supported. Now, as an area manager, some of your key areas of responsibility will include maximising sales through checking store availability and merchandising, also developing in-store management teams and holding weekly updates with your store managers to coach and develop them as people managers as well. Life at Aldi is absolutely fast-paced, so you'll need to be able to think on your feet and use your initiative to manage and continually improve stores, all whilst being that positive role model for your store employees as well. You'll also be looking to develop that culture of professionalism and pride with Aldi, ensuring that your store teams have that culture of ownership as well. And you'll also, focusing on those customers as well, ensure that our store environments offer our customers that everyday amazing experience, as our customers are at the absolute centre of everything we do. And you'll constantly seek ways to minimise costs, improve efficiencies and grow your area's sales as well. Now, with that, of course, we'll absolutely be providing you with lots of training to help you really succeed within your role. So you'll complete our year-long training programme where you'll experience store life by rolling up your sleeves and seeing exactly what happens on the shop floor by getting that in-depth understanding really of how our stores do operate. And you'll be given lots of support within the role from your store operations director, your experienced area manager, mentor, and your area manager colleagues within your region as well. Fabulous. Now, in terms of what we'll offer you and why join the Graduate Area Manager programme, so the responsibility, exposure, training, and of course the salary and the car are a huge bonus as well, but absolutely top of your list should be that opportunity to get involved, give more and really get more back. Now, as you'll see from the image displayed on screen, we do offer a really rewarding and quite varied benefits package, from health and lifestyle plans and savings, training and support, wellbeing at work, and 24 access to this support as well, and also opportunities to travel. Aldi really do value its colleagues, and we've listened to our area managers and appreciate what they do for our business. So we did reduce our working hours for area managers from 50 down to 45 per week, and did increase the salary from 44,000 right up to £50,000, making our graduate offering really, really competitive in that space. We've also introduced, a couple of years back now, a year 8 salary banding for our area manager roles, which sees the salary being taken up to over £90,000 once you do reach that year 8, which is really, really exciting. Fabulous. So I do have a short clip to show you now, which is where you can hear from one of our graduate area managers, which will hopefully give you a little bit more of an insight into what it's like working on the graduate area manager programme.
My name is Emily and I'm a retail management placement student at Aldi. I am in the later stages of my placement programme at the minute. So at the beginning of the placement I completed 6 months of store time, where you do 4 weeks of store assistant training, and then you do your deputy store manager training, and then onto your assistant store manager training. And then you come out of store around Christmas time, and then I pursued my project work, which has meant that I've had to work out of head office, which has been really exciting, and I'm now 3 to 4 weeks from the end of finishing my placement year. The most enjoyable part of store time was working with the incredible employees that Aldi have. They're so hardworking, so determined to offer our customers such an incredible shopping experience. It's allowed me to develop amazing communication skills. I've been able to lead a team effectively in store. One of the whole reasons why I chose to do my placement with Aldi is because of the extensive experience you're exposed to. It's really a variety of all sorts of business avenues and management styles. I would advise anyone to join Aldi on the placement scheme simply because of the amazing people that work for Aldi. I feel like a new individual. I feel like a different person compared to the person that started with Aldi. I feel like I've really matured and developed professionalism, organisation, leadership skills, everything that will help me to become a successful leader that I hope to become in the future.
Okay, so hopefully hearing from our placement student, Emily, there has given you a great insight into life at Aldi. I'll now discuss with you my experience as an area manager. So in terms of where I started and why I chose a career with Aldi, like I said briefly, I was a part-time store assistant throughout completing my studies, my A-levels at college, and then I actually transferred to Loughborough University, and I stayed with Aldi as a part-time store assistant. And then towards the end of my second year at uni, it got to the time where I had to think about whether I wanted to do a placement or not. And this really was an option for me, just so I could ensure that I got some experience before actually applying for graduate roles to enrich my CV and also just get some real life work experience. Initially, I had thought about going into the banking sector, as I did economics at university. But then when I started looking at these placements, none of them were really as captivating or engaging as the job description for the Aldi placement. Here, kind of, it was highlighted to me that it would have been an opportunity to get some real experience, to be able to do some real meaningful work, to have some significant responsibility, and really get that real industry experience that I wanted to get. So then Aldi's placement went from not being an option at all, it was just a part-time job for me, to very quickly being my number one and only choice. So I went through the application process, applied, and luckily got it. I then did the placement in the Swindon region, and it was incredibly rewarding. It was an amazing year. personally and professionally. The way that the placement develops you is really, really incredible. And then luckily, in my final week of my placement year, I was offered the area manager role onto the graduate program. The only thing that I needed was to return to university, achieve a 2-1 as a minimum, and then I could return as an area manager. And luckily, that's exactly what happened. So that's kind of how I started and my why. In terms of my main responsibilities within the area manager role, as we said previously, it is very much varied, and that's one of the good things about the job. It's not your standard 9-to-5 kind of desk job. It really is far from that. It's really exciting. It's really fast paced. It can be very, very challenging, but also extremely rewarding as well. So the main responsibilities can vary. You're in charge of overseeing multiple store operations within your designated area. You're there to ensure stores meet Aldi's high standards for performance, efficiency, and customer satisfaction. You will be regularly conducting store visits and assessments. You'll then support your direct reports, your store managers in daily operations and strategic initiatives. You'll then implement and cascade company policies and drive best practice across your stores. Monitor KPIs, training, mentoring store managers and other staff. Building relationship with staff, with customers, and ultimately fostering a positive work environment. In terms of the kind of responsibilities, your week, I would say that on the whole, the Monday and Tuesday, usually towards the start of the week, is very kind of set, and there is a routine. You usually have your meetings with your various teams, etc. But then towards the end of the week, it really is about you being dynamic. And ultimately, the way I always describe being an area manager is that you are first and foremost a problem solver. So you always need to, think on your feet, take initiative, and ultimately drive the business to success. And in terms of what I love about working at Aldi, there's multiple things, or else if not, I wouldn't have been with the business for as long as I have. But I think some things that stand out for me is the company culture. The emphasis on teamwork and collaboration is really there. There's always a supportive environment that encourages growth and development. I think the career opportunities, I'm speaking to you now as someone that started as a part-time store assistant, and it's clear that Aldi does offer you an immense amount of career opportunities. So there's clear pathways for career advancement, and also there's opportunities for personal development through training and courses. There's this thing that we always say at Aldi, which is give us everything and we'll absolutely give you more, and that's very much the case. So career opportunities is another thing that I really do love about working at Aldi. And then the challenging environment as well, I would say, is another. The fast-paced retail experience keeps you engaged. And then I think finally the work-life balance. I think being an area manager, you do have an immense amount of flexibility that you perhaps wouldn't at other graduate programs. You are, especially when you are a fully fledged area manager, you're very much in charge kind of your diary and your routine, which allows you to accommodate your personal life extremely well. Now, in terms of the future, so what could the future look like for you? After the 12 months training year, you're now a fully fledged area manager with complete control of your area. Most of your time will be spent visiting your stores and driving your teams to success, like I said. But in terms of what is next for you, you may take your area manager knowledge into logistics as you learn more about this vital part of the business and as a logistics area manager. Or you might be interested in exploring the inner workings of Aldi and be keen to take on projects in different business areas as a project area manager. And if you're performing really well, we might suggest a UK, European, or even international secondment. Typically, some of my area manager colleagues have gone to the US or Australia. And here you can experience and gain knowledge across other vital parts of our business. So in terms of the structure of Aldi, essentially we have 13 regions across the UK and Ireland where we recruit for our area manager program. Each region has a regional office and a distribution centre. And as an area manager, you will report into the store operations director for all things relating to your own stores and the people within them. You will be the main link between your stores and the logistics teams based within the regional distribution centre. And as you can see on the screen, our national head office is based in Atherstone, where our national departments are located. Liv will now talk through some of the amazing graduate and placement opportunities available at our head office.
Thank you, Afonso. I'll just wait for the slide to change. Okay, so if working in store operations isn't for you, perhaps opportunities in our head office would be of interest. So our head office is based in the Midlands. It's a fast-moving, dynamic, open plan environment where over 1,400 colleagues are based. Everything that happens here drives the stores and logistics side of the business. So the business depends on the actions and decisions that we make in our head office. So it's a place where you're trusted to think for yourself and take complete ownership over your role. Aldi recruit all year round for graduates to join our national departments with opportunities specialising in IT, buying, supply chain and projects, which is based in Atherstone, and then HR, which is based in Bolton, with our assistant salaries starting from just over £33,000 per year. So if you are interested in brushing shoulders with our CEO, Giles Hurley, or our Managing Director of Corporate Buying, Julie Ashfield, who you might recognise from our series, Aldi's Next Big Thing, we have office opportunities available, and you can visit our careers page on our website for more information on those. So moving on. So if you're not ready to graduate yet, have you considered a placement year? So a year in industry is a really great way to see how a company works, but our retail management placement programme provides so much more than that. Over the year, you'll experience real responsibility. In fact, fast rotations across the store and office environments will give you a snapshot of our business and the skills that you need to succeed. During your placement, some of the key areas of responsibilities will include rolling up your sleeves and seeing exactly what happens in our stores, from stacking shelves to serving customers. You'll shadow store managers and experience their challenging, rewarding and stimulating role. It's about learning to lead a successful team, and creating an environment where people really feel motivated. You'll also take on the role of an operational assistant store manager, so this will be your time to really develop your management skills. You'll also learn everything from streamlining distribution to vehicle tracking and routing, as head office and logistics is an invaluable part of your training as well. And lastly, you'll be collaborating on project briefs to improve areas across trading and logistics. Here you can see your work have a long-lasting impact on regional or even national decisions. If our retail management placement isn't for you, perhaps a placement opportunity in our head office would be of interest. So you'll be located in Atherstone. Aldi recruit for placement candidates to join their national departments with opportunities specialising in buying, supply chain, IT, real estate and customer interaction. We know just how challenging a programme like this is, which is why we'll reward you generously for it. So on top of our amazing list of benefits, you'll receive a £26,000 salary for the 12 months that you spend with us. But please note that our placement programmes are for university students currently studying towards an undergraduate degree, who are seeking a placement between their second and third years of study. So we're now going to talk you through the application process for Aldi's area manager programmes and give you some useful hints and tips. You're more than welcome to take notes, and if you think of any questions, please feel free to ask them at the end during the Q&A session. So as you can see from the screen, the area manager recruitment process is made up of 5 stages. So the first stage is the online application. So our open questions in the application form will allow you to tell us everything you know about Aldi and why you want to be an area manager and join our amazing team. We're going to ask you a whole variety of questions about what motivates and inspires you, and you can use examples from anything in your life, so including hobbies, societies, and employment. There is lots to get in at this stage, so there's no need to rush it, and make sure you read it through or even get someone else to proofread it for you. The second stage will be the video interview stage. So just remember, first impressions do go a long way. So think about where you want to record your video interview and how you want to present yourself. But make sure your answers relate to the questions that appear, but make sure you say something that we'll remember. Now, the third stage is the online testing. So if you are successful at video interview, you'll be emailed a link to complete our online psychometric tests, which have been designed to measure your core skills and personal qualities, as well as to see if we are a right fit for each other. The fourth stage is a group assessment. So we're currently holding virtual group assessments. So it might not be face to face, but it's really important to still prepare, So think about how you want to present yourself and how you want to engage with your assessor, and make sure you get your knowledge of the company across, but also give other candidates the opportunity to showcase their skills too. At this stage, we are looking for leaders, but you also need to be able to work well with a variety of different people in a team if you are successful. So show us you can do this at this stage. And then finally, you'll have your final interview. So the people you need to impress when you get to the final interview are our managing directors. So they will focus on 3 key areas. Firstly, yourself. So they'll focus on all areas of your life, so not just work. The second key area is being able to talk about Aldi. So really do your research. We want to see your drive and passion for the business. And thirdly, we are looking for you to demonstrate certain competencies. So for example, leadership and teamwork. I'll now pass over to Afonso for some hints and tips.
Okay, so in terms of hints and tips, personality is obviously really important. First impressions will go a long way. We receive lots of applications to our program each year, so you will need to stand out from the crowd. Also really show us that you know about Aldi and let your personality shine through with that. Proofreading and practicing is obviously really important, so make sure that you check your work. There is no time limit on the online application, so ensure that you take your time and think of the best answers. Also, maybe get your family and friends to proofread your application. This is your first impression to the business, so it's obviously really, really important. And there is also an opportunity for you to practice a video interview, so ensure that you use this so you are prepared for the real thing. Leadership and teamwork, again, really crucial. Obviously, to be successful during your role, you will need to be able to lead by example and work well in teams. Our Aldi stores are successful due to the excellent teamwork that we encourage, as well as the high standards that we set. So ahead of your application, try and think of strong examples which you feel you can demonstrate this, and try to be structured with your answers. Within this role, you will have to roll up your sleeves and work together. So really do try and show us these opportunities where you have shown leadership and shown that you can work in a team successfully. Then also in terms of your research, do research Aldi. We recommend that you visit an Aldi store, maybe your local Aldi store. Go and visit it. Make sure that you do your research of Aldi and our business model. Our website is a great starting point. We have a lot of information on there for you to read and watch. And we also have the digital graduate brochure, and would suggest reading this in detail to understand that you will know exactly what is expected of you. Also, The Grocer is a great publication for you to read. There are a lot of articles about Aldi, but also on our competitors and the wider retail market. And also take note of any questions that you might have whilst doing your research, as there is the opportunity to ask these if you are successful, to the assessment and final interview. Also, in terms of being a successful area manager, you will need to be able to move on quickly from setbacks and be adaptable to change in a fast-paced environment. So try and think of strong examples in which you can demonstrate this in and really show your resilience. Also, goes without saying, being punctual is really key, and dress professionally if you are successful in attending an assessment or final interview. And if your assessment is virtual, we would recommend checking your camera, audio and Wi-Fi prior to attending. Final interviews are taking place in person, so if you are successful, check the location to plan your journey. And we also recommend you doing a practice journey if you can, just to ensure that it all goes smoothly. And I will now pass you on to Jess.
Well, thank you so much. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more now about the group assessment structure and our role as assessors in terms of what we are looking for at Aldi. As previously mentioned, you're more than welcome to take some notes at this stage. And if you do think of any questions, we do have a Q&A session, as I mentioned at the start. So feel free to continue dropping those Q&A questions into the chat box. You're more than welcome. So in terms of the group assessment structure then, we start by providing a brief presentation about Aldi. So similar to what you've seen today, but a little bit more brief, just to set the tone for the group assessment. Then we do some introductions before we go into the activities. So again, that's your chance to meet your assessor and meet the rest of the group, just to really get to know each other before we get started. You'll then have once you've completed those introductions, you'll have your first activity, which will be an Aldi store walk presentation. So that's your opportunity to do a little bit of research and come well prepared with your store walk presentation. We'll take a short break in which you can hopefully forget about us for around 10 minutes and put that first half of the assessment completely to one side. And then the second half of your assessment will be an individual task that will lead into a group discussion between all of the candidates, which is a really good engaging task, like I say, where all the candidates on the group assessment will get involved. Now, once that activity is complete, the assessor will then provide some information in regards to next steps, and there will be an opportunity to ask your assessor any questions around the role, recruitment process, Aldi, if it hasn't already been covered within that group assessment. So I'm going to move on to talk about the role of Aldi assessors. So as Aldi assessors, we do have a lot of responsibilities throughout the assessment to really ensure that you have a positive, inclusive and fair experience. We assess each of you individually, not as a group. And we do this by assessing against each of the core competencies of the role. Reasonable adjustments will be discussed with candidates if they have requested any, and we'll always use our discretion around these as well. So we wouldn't make it public on the group assessment. We would always have those conversations privately with those individual candidates. Assessors do take notes, and you'll probably see them do this, but everything that we do right as assessors is purely factual. So again, that's just something to bear in mind. We are writing pure facts in terms of the assessment. It is an assessor's role to ensure that everyone is treated fairly through the process, to ensure consistency and to really create that inclusive environment throughout the time that you're with us. And finally, assessors aren't there to trip you up or catch you out. We do really want you to just enjoy the experience as best as you possibly can. So from my perspective as an assessor, I'd really encourage you, if you do get to a group assessment stage, really just try to put your nerves to one side. It's our job to make you feel as comfortable as possible throughout that assessment. So that, again, is just something to bear in mind. So I'm going to pass on again now to Afonso. And again, he's just going to look into what we're looking for as assessors.
So in terms of, what are we looking for, what are the assessors looking for at this stage? These on the screen are the qualities and characteristics that we believe are important to display during the assessment. Just to summarize some of these, it is all about how you show that you have a genuine interest and enthusiasm for our business and a potential career opportunity with us. It's how you are able to identify key information within tasks, how you can show that you have leadership qualities, that you can take control and give direction when necessary without overpowering others. It's also about how you can listen and understand others' thoughts and value their ideas, and how you can be an effective decision making, but you can also drive the group towards a conclusion. Also here, we're looking for how you can work with others, be a great team player and ensure that everyone gets their say. And finally, it's how you can communicate confidently, clearly, and professionally throughout. And I'll pass you on to Liv.
Great, thank you. So that does come to the end of our presentation. So we'd just like to take this time to thank you all for joining our webinar today. And we really hope that it's given you an insight into our graduate and placement programmes here at Aldi. We'd also like to take this time to thank CareerMap for working with us to deliver this presentation. So as you'll see as well displayed on the screen, there is a QR code which will take you directly to our graduate and placement brochures and apply links. So thank you again, everyone. And I'd just now like to open up the floor for any questions you might have for us, or any questions that you might have for our area manager colleague, Afonso.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you very much for that, guys. That was really, really good. So yeah, as already announced, we're going to go through some questions now. So if you've not had any chance to put your questions in the chat box as of yet, there's loads of time, so we can hopefully get through them all. So I'm just going to start at the top. Moll says, is weekend work involved? I'm guessing that's terms to the actual program itself. So if anybody wants to jump on that in terms of maybe just kind of delve in a bit more about like how your week would be planned when you first join the program, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of both the placement program as well as the area manager graduate program, they're both quite similar with weekend working. It is very much an expectation. You will be required to do some weekend working. You don't have to do every single weekend. I believe that it's 33% of the weekends that you do have to work. And then in terms of kind of your weekly routine, as part of your training plan, you won't very much get kind of a choice. It's more kind of as your training plan is, where you're required to do a certain amount of Saturdays, certain amount of Sundays. And this is very, very crucial for your development, because this will allow you to really understand, what happens over these days. And these are the most busy periods in retail and in Aldi. So it is very crucial that you do kind of get that insight into what these days are like. But then once you are fully fledged area manager, you then do have kind of the freedom to work it around your personal life, and you can very much accommodate that personal side of it as well. And you can kind of choose which days you'll work and which days you'll have off. And yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely perfect. So I'm just going to quickly move on to the next one. This is from Hussein. He said, I'd love to join the program, but suffer with imposter syndrome and worried I might not be as good as an area manager as someone else. Now, I might be speaking for myself here. Hopefully I'm not, but I think anybody does feel that kind of way when joining a new role, especially with a big company such as Aldi as well. So I suppose the question's kind of framed in a way is what kind of support, mental health wise, and what kind of group maybe support system is in place for people when they do start these kind of programs?
I don't mind starting, but I suppose Afonso might be able to give a bit more of an insight into once you've actually started the role. But I think what's really important to remember is if you get to the point where, you've had a job offer for this graduate area manager position, you've already proved that, you've got through that recruitment process and you've done so well to get to that point. So you will always have that feeling. It's natural when you start a new job. I know when I started working for Aldi, I felt exactly the same. Like, am I actually good enough to be doing this? But, you quickly become, you're surrounded by amazing people here. And I know Afonso will probably tell you a little bit more about that as well. But the support is so readily available in all different aspects. So just having that mindset of, I've got this, I've earned it, and kind of just throwing yourself into it and really being open. But I suppose, Afonso, what's the support like, would you say, once you kind of start in role?
No, I think you made some really good points there. But in terms of the support when you're actually in the role, genuinely, there is so much of it. So from day one, you will be assigned a mentor, and this is your kind of senior area manager that will be your mentor and will be with you throughout the whole training plan. But then sometimes, even if you feel that you can't speak to your mentor about a certain things because they're obviously more senior area manager, you are also assigned from day one a buddy. And this is a less senior area manager that has perhaps gone through the training more recently. And they're also there on hand to help you and really support you in anything that you might need. You then, of course, have your direct leader, that's your store operations director, that's there for guidance, advice, to kind of steer you in the right direction, give you feedback. And then you also have your colleagues. And really here at Aldi, we're very diverse and very inclusive. So there will always be someone for you to speak to. So yeah, I think in terms of support, Jenny, from my own personal experience and speaking to some of my colleagues, I think that there is an immense amount of support, and you really can feel, that if you do need anything, you have various different channels for you to go down.
Yeah, spot on. And I do just want to add a little bit onto that as well. I think you guys already touched it, but I just want to kind of reinforce the point is, don't be the obstacle in your own path. If you are struggling with, say, imposter syndrome, you do suffer from anxiety when you are applying for these roles, just speak to people. That there are things in place there specifically to support them kind of notions. Believe me, if I stopped myself from applying from how many roles I did, I would never have got anywhere. So yeah, just as a back on that, and yeah, perfect. So moving on to the next one, Shannon's asked, do you have any other options outside of the Midlands for placement students?
Yes, absolutely, we do. So we spoke, I know Afonso did one of those. He did the retail management placement, which he did locally in his Swindon region, but we do offer them out to all 11 regions within the UK. So absolutely worth having a look on our website in terms of what region might be most local to yourself, and if the retail management placement that we spoke about earlier is something of interest to yourself. It is a more store operations based placement, but if that is more suitable to yourself, you absolutely can base yourself a little bit more locally within your preferred region, as opposed to the national roles within our head office, if that was something that you would rather do.
Perfect. I think just as a follow-up question for that as well, someone said about offering accommodation. Maybe if someone wants to move somewhere, is that something that can be helped by Aldi as well?
We unfortunately don't offer accommodation for our placement schemes, but there's definitely things in place and support there where we can help with kind of supporting with looking for options for candidates that do apply and are looking to relocate. But yeah, no, unfortunately there's no accommodation offered at this point.
Perfect.
If I can just piggyback on that, sorry, we don't actually offer it, but there is something that I'm aware that some of our national placements have actually done for the last couple of years, and that's sort of a placement house that they've kind of arranged through sort of our national PAs and things like that, and they've all managed to kind of live in the same house local to the Atherstone head office, which has been really nice for them, and we've had some really great feedback on that. So there is options there, and like Liv said, there's the support available if you do get a job offer in terms of supporting you find accommodation, but unfortunately we can't actually offer it at this stage.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And as you said, you do kind of cover all the regions as well. So there's definitely going to be a workaround, as you said, if it's sharing a house, as if you're in uni. As you said, around, so that's perfect. So I'll just move on to the next one. So can you work remotely from head office roles?
Yeah, you can. I don't know who was going to take that then, but so part of our roles, so obviously we're HR, we get the option to work from home for 2 days a week. So it's all dependent on obviously your department and your role. I know every department works slightly differently, but remote working is absolutely a possibility for those head office based roles as well. Afonso, I don't know what your current situation is in terms of remote working. Is that an option for yourself at the moment, or is it not as much?
In terms of, for store operations, it's ultimately there's not much appetite for it, because as an area manager, you want to be in your stores, you want to be with your people, with the customers, you want to be interacting there. Don't get me wrong, I think there's times where you might have a lot of admin to do or something like that, and it actually wouldn't make sense for you to be in the stores, because you would just get distracted with kind of the everyday day-to-day things that happen. So you might have a Monday morning from home or something, just to really kind of knuckle down and do those admin tasks. But on the whole, no, there's not, kind of a set kind of days in your contract or anything like that for you to work remotely. And I think what you'll find, if successful with the application, if you get into the role, is that you do very much want to be in the stores.
Yeah, spot on. So I'll just move on to the next one. And it's how do you show you're open during the assessment? I'm not exactly sure what this is in relation to. Does anybody else have an idea?
Yeah, I'm more than happy to take this one. I'm assuming it's related to some of the hints and tips that we gave regarding the group assessment. And open is one of our competencies that we do look for at group assessment stage. So I suppose in terms of the open competency, what we're looking for at group assessment stage is people who could not only leave the room and, hold court at certain times during that assessment, but also people who can sit back and listen to other people as well. I think it's all well and good being sometimes the loudest person in the room, but the people who particularly stand out to us are the people who are confident and can display that, but also the people that can be open and listen to others as well. So I think that's definitely something to bear in mind during the group assessment stage, and would stand you in really good stead in regards to that open competency. So I hope that has answered your question in regards to that.
Yeah, perfect. And the next one is, what does the average day look like and how long does the day last? Can it be overwhelming sometimes, and how is that dealt with? So I think this is again tying into the kind of support that's based around it.
So a few parts to that question. In terms of what does the average day look like, we touched on it slightly. It can be super varied. I would say in the more, kind of your standard, if there was a standard day at Aldi, your average day would be you're visiting your stores. So there is an element of driving involved, but obviously you do have the company cars, one of the benefits. So you drive into your stores, you're meeting with your teams. You might have meetings with your direct reports, so with your store managers, to track how your KPIs are going and see if they need any coaching, any feedback, any kind of guidance in any of the KPIs there. You might then kind of have any personnel leader responsibilities where you're having 6-week reviews, 12-week reviews. You might be doing some recruitment where you need to hire and you're hiring for a particular store. So you could be conducting interviews, you could be doing contract signings, you could be doing promotions and celebrating your store successes. And I realize that I'm giving you a lot of things, but that's just to say that an average day really can vary. You could have meetings in your head office, but in terms of an average day, I'm struggling to answer the question because it can be so varied. You can do lots and lots of tasks, but if I had to just summarize, it would be visiting your stores. You could go to 2 or 3 stores in one day, and just kind of dealing with any problems that arise day to day. I know that was slightly long-winded, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of information into that. And then how long does the day last? I think we mentioned earlier that the contract was 45 hours, I believe. So that's obviously 9 hours a day. In terms of my region, how things work, like I say, when you are fully fledged area manager, you do have that flexibility. So depending on your diary and your needs and the things that you need to do across the week, you could decide that on a Tuesday, you will perhaps start at 10 a.m. and finish slightly later. Or you could decide that maybe to fit in with your personal life, you will start at 7 a.m. instead and finish slightly earlier so that you can then accommodate your personal life, which again just shows just how flexible you can be and what great work-life balance you can have. So it lasts around 9 hours. There could be times where, especially over Christmas or Easter or any of the busy key trading periods, you could have slightly more on your plate, and you could therefore be kind of required to work slightly more. But again, that is ultimately down to the area manager to manage their own time, be efficient in doing their tasks. And in terms of the last part of the question of can it be overwhelming sometimes and how is it dealt with? I think, again, absolutely. I think anything can be overwhelming, but we do here at Aldi do have the adequate support and network to be able to deal with it. And it goes back to the point that we said earlier, you have your mentor, you have your buddy, you have your colleagues, you have the people in your stores, and everyone just kind of works together, shows great teamwork and collaboration, and kind of helps out.
Amazing. So I think we've gone through all the questions that are currently in the chat box. We still do have some time, so please feel free, just to get any last minute questions in there. I suppose while we wait, I can ask each one of you, kind of what's your favourite memory of you working at Aldi? I know it's a little bit a vast of a question, but if there's anything that comes off to the top of your head, it'd be great to hear.
I'm happy to go first. I'd say one of the things that I have really enjoyed as part of the training of when I first started at Aldi was getting to go on an area manager experience day. So I got to shadow an area manager for the day. So it was really great. Obviously, that's what I'm recruiting for. So it was great to see that side of the business and how that was run. And also I got to do a store day as well, where I got to work on the shop floor. So I'd say for me, that was a really great memory of mine, to be able to just have that view of other aspects of the business throughout my training. It really did help me, understand all sides of the business.
I think I can go.
Yeah.
I think I was trying to think. I have two. One was during the final week of my placement year, where I had to do a presentation to the managing director of the region. And after the presentation, I was told that I would be offered the job onto the graduate program on the spot. And it was just a massive relief. Obviously, it was what I'd been working towards throughout the whole year. And then in the final week to be told that, you can go back to university, finish your degree. And when you return, you will have a job on the graduate program was really a relief. And then I would say my second moment was more recently when I received a call from my director to say that my training had been done as a training area manager, and I would shortly be taking my stores and become a fully fledged area manager, which again was really positive.
Thrilled. I suppose mine, it's probably a little bit more of a fun one, but this year I got to take part in the Christie Cup as part of one of our sports sponsorship packages that we work on. We work alongside Manchester, Liverpool and Leeds University. And each year they do sort of a sports event called the Christie Cup, which we sponsor. So we got to all go down to Manchester Uni, it was this year, and take part in that. I actually got to dress up as Kevin the Carrot, which was really good. I could only last maybe 10-15 minutes in the costume, but it was a really fun day, and that is going to stand out as one of my favourite days that I've had so far working for Aldi. So it does just show it's not all hard work. There is some enjoyment as well.
Yeah, perfect. And it doesn't look like we've got any more questions, so I think we've kind of done really well there. I suppose we can use these last couple of minutes just to kind of get a final statement from you guys, maybe that one last piece of advice, or just some inspiring words, just for anybody that is thinking about applying for the program, if that makes sense.
I don't mind going first. I suppose from my perspective, obviously from the recruitment team, we see a lot of candidates coming through, and I suppose our biggest piece of advice to anyone thinking about applying is absolutely just having the confidence to do it. Anyone has the ability to be an area manager, but it's just having that drive and showing us that you've got that drive to work for Aldi and to put the time and effort into the role. But like I said, having that confidence in yourself is the absolute first step in applying for anything, whether it be a role at Aldi or a role anywhere. So I would just say, believe in yourself, speak to either us, speak to anyone, family, friends, for advice, but absolutely believe in yourself and push yourself to out your comfort zone, and you'll be absolutely fine.
I'm happy to go next. So just to kind of jump on the back of what Jess said there, definitely having confidence in yourself and making yourself stand out in your application. Obviously, we look at a lot of applications, so definitely having some sort of something in there about yourself, or really showing your knowledge of Aldi shine through in your application, and definitely, if you need it, reaching out for that advice. I think Jess mentioned earlier that she was going to drop our email into the chat. So if you're doing your application and you've got a question, then please feel free to reach out, or even as Jess said, asking family or friends to help you. Then I would definitely push for that as well. But yeah, definitely believing in yourself and having that confidence there.
And finally, I think for me, if you find yourself in a position, and this is a position that I was in, where you're unsure what route you want to go down for a placement, or what route you want to go down for a graduate program, and you're slightly unsure and in and ahhing what to go for, absolutely go for Aldi. For me, I was slightly lost, and I kind of gave Aldi a chance, and Aldi gave me a chance, and I have absolutely zero regrets. It's been without a doubt the best kind of 6-7 years of my life in terms of professional growth, but also personal. I think I've developed tremendously in terms of my confidence, my people skills, all sorts of things that I wouldn't have thought I would be here. And that is vastly down to Aldi and the opportunities they give you, and kind of the culture they ingrain with you. So I would say, if you have any doubts at all, if Aldi is slightly on your mind, I would push you to apply, because it really has been worth it.
Amazing, that's great. So yeah, it looks like everybody's pretty satisfied with what we've gone through. I just want to thank you guys for joining us and taking people through the questions so clearly as you did. I hope everybody in the chat found it very insightful and useful. If you did miss anything, please don't worry. This session was recorded and it will be on our website and YouTube in the coming week. So that's Career Map TV. So basically, yeah, all that's left to do is thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thank you.
Thanks everyone.
Much.
Thank you all.